Hello everybody, I'm Antonia and this is Noel and we are from Boxtail Soup Theatre Company and this is another Boxtail Scoop. I really feel like we need to update the whole beginning of this vlog.
Well, we're almost on. I know we started them before that, but we're almost on vlog 52. Since we started, so I figure once we get to that point...
Why 52?
Why 52?
Yeah.
Because we've done 52 of them.
No, but why once we get to 52?
Because that would be a year.
Oh, I see.
I think. I doubted myself for a second then, but there are indeed 52
I thought you were going to say 100
years.
or something and I was like, really? I'm not sure we've done 100.
No.
So we've been working on Hansel and Gretel this week, as we said we were going to move on to, because we're doing a week of research and development for that show in August. So we're trying to get everything, well, as much as we can, made before then. You may remember last year we started work on the show and sort of had to give up relatively quickly because we understood that the show wasn't going to be able to go ahead last year. However, we had made some prototype puppets for our Squirrel, Robin and Rabbit. We revisited those this week and we've decided to change them. We've got here this is the old rabbit head and the rabbit body, yeah. Which we made last year, and not that we were totally unhappy with it. We're not.
No.
He's got a sweet little face, and the body shape is quite nice, I think.
Just turn it sideways.
Sorry, I'm probably not holding his head at the best point. But the head is quite heavy.
Yeah.
The body is a little bit unwieldy.
The body is, solid. So it's limited in terms of where its movement can go to, and also it needs support.
And we have subsequently, obviously, we remade the puppets for Alice in Wonderland, which is what we've been doing for the last few weeks, and we've discovered, actually from doing A Christmas Carol, a better way to attach heads to bodies generally. And the way we made these is not suitable for that. But the head is also quite heavy, and then the squirrel head is even worse. The squirrel head is really heavy. And whilst it's a really sweet shape, I like the face of it, it's heavy, really heavy, and then the back of it again is very impractical.
Yeah, so it wasn't necessarily the shape of it that we disliked.
No.
The shape of the body, the shape of the heads were okay. But because of the way that we had built up on them, because of the fact that we basically built like a ball frame inside, and then built all of this on and covered that over and over. And
then sculpted around, so there's layers and layers of papier-mâché on these.
So that's what made them heavy. And then also, because of the way we'd ended up doing the mouth mechanism, or the little flapping piece for the mouth, you can see on the squirrel here particularly, it sticks out quite a long way because of how we had to then fit it into that head. And that means that, for one thing, it's difficult to then attach anything on the back of here that hangs at a normal distance. I mean, like our own heads, you want the body to hang more or less underneath. Whereas it'd be difficult with this one not to make it seem as though he's sticking his head forward all the time. And also, it's a little bit unsightly at the back. So.
And it is heavy, which is impractical.
Yeah.
So the first thing we did was we looked at them, kind of thought about them a bit, thought, yes, okay, the expressions are nice and all of that, but that they are impractical. And what we always do with the puppets, and I think we probably mentioned this before, is we try and make sure that we know very clearly what the purpose of that puppet, the purpose that the puppet has in the show. So these animal characters, the Robin, the Squirrel and the Rabbit, are kind of our narrators, really, aren't they, for the show? They connect with the audience throughout the show and explain what's happening. So they need to be able to have moving mouths, we decided, because they talk a lot. And their bodies need to be actually quite simple, we ended up with, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, like you say, we've said it more than once. The question you need to ask is, what is this going to do? What job does it have to fulfill? How are we going to use it and make sure that it works for that purpose?
Because then there are so many things, if you've got a show where you want a very realistic looking woodland creature, because the show is basically it's about humans and there's a rabbit that leaps across the stage and sort of snuffles around and leaps back off again, you're going to want something that moves beautifully like a rabbit and looks very much like a real rabbit. But if you've got a show like this show that we're doing where the animals talk and chat away and are the narrators, you don't need them to realistically move across the stage. You need them to stay nice and still.
Yeah, and that is predominantly what they do is talk, sit, narrate, And they might move from spot to spot here and there, but that's not what they're principally the role that they're fulfilling.
And we know that we're only going to have one puppeteer for each puppet, sometimes one puppeteer for 2 puppets. So we looked at the body for the rabbit and thought, well, we like the shape. What about if we made it out of fabric so that it was a little bit more stable? So then we've got this mock-up here of a body, which we're quite happy with. It's got nice articulated arms, so you can I can't speak today, gesticulate nicely with it. You can see it with, if I perch a head on top, you can see how that might work. It sits really solidly. And it's difficult to knock it over, which is good, because it means that if you're kind of leaping it from one place to another and sitting with it and wanting to chat away whilst you gesticulate, you've got a nice solid base.
Yeah, and as we said, it can do a little bit of movement. If we did need it to jump, we've deliberately given it the feet that look like they've got a little bit of spring to them, so that if you did need it to move from one spot to another, it's quite, it's feasible for it to do that. But then when it lands, even if it's only being operated with one hand, even if that puppeteer can only hold it like that, you don't need to be concerned about the body. You don't need to be concerned about the legs not being in the right position, or not landing quite correctly, or getting twisted or tangled up or turned the wrong way, because it's going to stay in the right position, and it's really light as well, which is both of which are big bonuses.
So that's the body that we're going to work with for this. This is for the squirrel, a prototype for the squirrel. We're doing a slightly larger version of the same thing for the rabbit with bigger feet, and then obviously for the robin it'll be slightly different. We're working out a way that we might be able to do some flapping wings but still using fabric. Then we changed therefore the way that we made the heads. We've basically gone for, do you remember the pear shape that we used for the Alice in Wonderland puppets? That base is the basis for these new ones. A lot because it's a lightweight frame. It then provides a good amount of space for your hand in the back for ease of operation, and it has a nice panel at the back where you can then attach the thing that hangs, the body would then hang off. Yeah,
and I think we were so pleased with the results for Alice's Adventures in Wonderland that kind of convinced us. And again, it's one of these things that we keep coming back to. Each thing that you do informs the next thing that you do. And even though it wasn't all that long ago that we were working on Hansel and Gretel, we've made quite a lot of things since then. We've been all the way through Christmas Carol. We've made some stuff for Gulliver. We've revamped all the stuff for Alice's Adventures in Wonderland.
And the music video puppets as well.
And so the music video puppets. So we've done. We've done a lot of making in the meantime. And actually, we've also come to the conclusion that where for those puppets before, I think we built a basic frame, covered it, and then tried to build up on top of that. For Alice, we actually built the features on as part of the frame, and that worked. It was quicker to cover, and it also meant that the end result was lighter. So that's what we've gone with here as well. We've sort of got them in various stages here, and they're very similar to the ones for Alice, except obviously they've got slightly different features. They're slightly,
and they're quite a lot smaller.
Yeah, they're smaller, and they're slightly more. They're slightly closer to the animal counterpart, I think.
Yes, the Alice ones are more anthropomorphised, and they've got sort of human style almost bodies, whereas these are more animal-like.
Yeah, but nevertheless, we've gone for this the simple sort of pear-shaped frame. This is going to be a magpie, so I'm just building out the beak on that one, and then obviously we've got a rabbit here.
This particular rabbit likes carrots a lot, doesn't it? So
he does like carrots a lot. What are you saying? He's got a fat face?
No, I'm just saying he looks like he's storing a few in his cheeks.
So that's about ready to be covered now, that one there. And then
this is it's becoming a robin, so it's had a very, very initial covering, obviously no covering on the bottom jaw yet. And I mean, at the moment, they look a little odd, it's safe to say. This one looks a little bit like a bald chick. But they, without any of the kind of features that then will be built up and the colouring and everything, they do look a little strange currently, but the shapes are coming along, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
And then this is the squirrel, which has had a little bit more of a covering, but again needs more shaping to it. So it'll have some nice things done around the eyes, a bit more cheek build up here, and then obviously I haven't finished covering the back either, and they'll have a smoothing overcoat, but we're getting there with them. They're certainly well underway.
Yeah.
And they're so much lighter. I mean, obviously you can't see that, you can't tell, but trust us, they are so much lighter, which just makes a big difference. And their mouths move a lot easier.
Yeah.
We went back to the robin, which in fact I haven't got out to show you, but that robin, you can barely move its mouth. It's sort of tight and...
Yeah, the mouths move easier, and then this idea that the bodies, you know, will just sit and land in the right position very easily and not weigh too heavily is also a big plus. So yeah, I think we've got one more animal frame to make.
Yes, we've got an owl to make, so that'll be the next frame after you finish the magpie.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll have more to show you next week. But as always, thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, please do like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Welcome to our new subscribers. And we will see you next week.